Hello all and welcome to another review of mine. Today I'm going to review this meal individual halal. This was produced by Sopaco and the main is lentil stew with lamb. This MRE is often given to servicemen that cannot eat regular MREs because of religious or dietary reasons, and it is also given to other allies in theaters where they also have a diet restriction. That actually makes the American MREs just super versatile because you have the 24 regular case A and B MREs, then you have kosher MREs, then you have these halal MREs, then you have meal cold weathers, you have first strike rations. So there's a lot of variety in these MREs, although I'm not quite sure how often regular servicemen get these specialized MREs. So this is the first US halal MRE that I'm ever going to try. So I'm quite excited about that. And also just curious to see what the different mains are like, because I've heard that some of these mains are a little bit better quality than the regular US MREs. And as a last interesting fact, this has the same size as a regular American brown bag, but the insides are more the size of the regular new American MREs, which are a little bit smaller and more compact. So let's open it up and see what we get. It also comes with a peelable seal, and this is what we have in the bag. And inside this bag we have another smaller regular American sized MRE, and of course it's also translucent. I'm guessing that is simply to save up on production costs, because on this you won't have any bespoke print on what menu it is. You can simply look through the bag and see what menu you will get. So now let's open up our second bag, and here we have everything. Quite a nice little compact bag, actually. Just a shame that they had to put it in the larger bag, but let's see what we get. First up, we have our actual main. This is the halal lentil stew with lamb, and this is the actual heating sleeve. So we get 227 grams of that, 340 calories in total, and the main ingredients are water, lamb, lentils, and rice. So it's not a huge main. I've been kind of spoiled lately by the large mains in most of the European MREs, but we'll have to make do with quite a small main. Then we have our regular standard issue flameless ration heater, which I will not use because I'm inside in my apartment. Then we have our accessory pack. I think these are different than the standard ones. And inside we have our standard MRE spoon, fresh nap. So this is different than the moist toilets in the regular American MREs already. Book of matches, 2 packs of sugar, regular napkins, and we also get our standard issue toilet paper, both salt and pepper. There's no drink in this, and also you get 2 types of napkins / toilet paper and 2 bags of sugar. Then we get our sugar cookies patriotic. Quite interested in those. I've never had them, so kind of curious about that. Then we have a Bridgeford cinnamon bun, shelf stable, 100 grams, so quite substantial. In fact, this has more calories, 350, than the actual main. Then we have our halal butterscotch pudding, and it also comes with not a sleeve, but simply a carton insert. We get 128 grams of that, which is substantial for a dessert, I guess. But interesting that they just have the pouch and then just put the insert there. Then we have our beverage base, which is grape flavored, no fruit juice. And finally, we have a bag of cranberries. So overall, we have 4 items, and none of them are actually hearty, so you don't get tortillas or anything like that, or anything with the main. All of the extra stuff is simply sweet, sugary carbs. And you also don't get any tea or coffee with this, but you do get the 2 sugars. Not quite sure what the sugars would be used for. Like always, let's heat up our halal lentil stew with lamb first, and then let's open up the rest of our components. Now we have our sugar cookies patriotic. I've never had these before, so pretty funny to me as a non-US citizen that this would be an item, especially, you know, the sort of deadpan naming convention with American MREs. And this is how those look like. They are pretty intact, I think, overall. Actually, that's quite significant. That's a lot of cookies. For 56 grams, it looks like a lot more. And they smell really nice, actually. But I guess you got like the Lincoln hat, you have the Flame of Liberty, I guess, stars. I think you have like the Liberty Bell. And then we have our cranberries. I'll take the accessory pack out of this. I'm not going to use any of that. It's also very little things to use. And I think when it comes to MRE items, this is probably the most natural one there is. All it contains is cranberries, sugar, and sunflower oil. To only see 3 ingredients on any MRE item, that is pretty rare, especially if it's American. And this is how those look like. Always good. And then probably the thing that I would be most excited about if I would have this ration in the field would be the cinnamon bun, shelf stable, made by Bridgeford. Never had one of quite curious. It smells really nicely of cinnamon already. It has some moisture to it, so it's not too dry. Looking forward to that. And then we have our Halal butterscotch pudding. Here we have it. You can open it from the top and then eat it from the pouch. So that's how that looks like, a very caramel-like color consistency. It also sort of smells like caramel to me. I guess butterscotch is a type of caramel. I'm not really familiar with the flavor that much. Let's try to get that out on the tray. It's very sticky. Actually, it does have a pudding type consistency. So let's make our drink. We got grape flavored no fruit juice. 130 calories in this little pack. So it's 34 grams, so it's basically pure sugar. 33 grams of sugar to be precise. And we need to add half a canteen cup or 12 ounces of water. I think 12 ounces is give or take like 300 milliliters, so I'm just gonna fill up the glass here. And there we have it. Looks really white, so, and we don't have a lot of grape flavored type of drinks like you have in America and Europe. At least I've never seen them where I've lived. So it's a little bit of a strange flavor for me to get used to. And we're gonna add 300 milliliters of water to that. And it has that really strange bluish, extremely artificial and probably in Europe illegal blue color. And I guess as the main is still heating up, I'll just start with the butterscotch. I know it's not good practice probably to have your dessert before your dinner, but otherwise I need to clean the spoon anyhow. And it looks amazing. Surprisingly like pudding. I never really had any shelf-stable pudding before, so not quite sure how they do it, but it looks and smells amazing. Really dark, rich caramel notes to it, so let's try. And that is just really awesome. It has a really good caramel flavor to it. Not quite sure if butterscotch is supposed to be caramel or not, but that's what it tastes like to me. And the texture is surprisingly good. It's much richer than I expected a bagged pudding to be. And while I'll still wait for the main to heat up, I'll just try some of the cranberries. I've had these quite a lot. I see them a lot in American MREs. Also know it's just a very American item and probably also just really cost effective, shelf stable for really long, and it has a lot of calories. But let's try. Yeah, those are just really good, nice cranberries. There's nothing wrong with it. They're not super exciting, especially not, I guess, if you eat them every other meal. But it's still a good item, and I like that they include it. Probably one of the most natural things that you can get in American MRE. So I'm a fan of these, although I guess if you need to eat them every day, you might get tired of them quite quickly. I heated up the main in some boiling water. Comes in a regular MRE pouch, so you can just open it from here and eat it from the side if you want. That's how that looked like. It smells really nice, actually. You can see some of the lentils and you can see some of the rice. I can't see any lamb in there. If you smell it, you can definitely smell that meat. It has a very savory smell. So let's get this out in the main compartment. And that's how that looks like. You don't get a huge amount of it. It does look and smell delicious. So there's some pieces of lamb in there. Can't really see it, and they sort of fall apart if you touch them with a spoon. But here I got one. You can see that's a real piece of lamb. Let's take a big bite. That's really good. I think the lamb is perfectly tender. It's quite complex with flavor, but it is very sweet. And I checked, they added 7 grams of sugar to this meal, which isn't a huge amount, but it is definitely noticed. But for the rest, I think that is a very nice meal. The lentils actually have a good texture and the rice isn't too bad either. And you can see here, there's like real meat. This isn't processed or anything like that, which some of the American MREs, the meat part of them is, for my taste, extremely generic and processed. So I really enjoy this actually. And it isn't spicy at all. It's just a very comforting, almost sweet tomatoey stew. I think this is probably my favorite American MRE so far. Perhaps I should just try more of these halal or kosher ones. And let's cleanse our palate with some beautifully natural blue grape drink. Yeah, it's just sweet. There's a strange flavor to it. I don't know if this is the flavor that people are used to. It's a bit odd to me. Like, I don't really know how to describe it. It's not unpleasant, but to me this just tastes like sweet chemicals, basically. So not bad, not great. For dessert, I have the 2 items that I'm looking forward to the most. And I guess the most plain will be the sugar cookies patriotic. So here we have a few. Let's try a intact one. I guess this is the flame that the Statue of Liberty holds. So let's try. Those are actually also pretty good. They're definitely tasty. Can't really taste the sugar. They're just slightly sweet, but they have a nice sort of like crumbly texture. They're a little bit like dry, I guess, like not like shortbread, but a little bit more sandy than that, but actually quite nice. I would gladly munch on a whole box of these. As a final piece of dessert, we have our Bridgeford cinnamon bun. Now let's open this up. It's almost like bread with some filling or cake with a filling. There's a little bit of the cinnamon sugar frosting inside, but let's try. And yeah, that is okay. This is mostly sweet bread with some cinnamon stuffing rather than an actual cake. It has a very chewy texture. It's not bad, but it's definitely not like brownie. It's much more like bread. The cinnamon flavor though is quite nice. It's quite strong, so you have a little bit of a hit of sweetness and cinnamon, and then you sort of are just chewing on slightly sweet bread. So yeah, that is okay, but not great. This was it for this meal. I will finish it afterwards. But overall, this was a really interesting menu for me. I think the main was really good and definitely a step up from the average American MRE mains. But I do think as a menu, this is sort of weird because you only have basically 4 sweet items and 1 savory item. And even the savory item is a little bit sweet. Definitely think just snack bread, some crackers, something hearty and salty would really benefit this ration. So overall, all the components were good. As a menu, I probably would add something extra. That was a really interesting menu for me. The first time I had a Halal MRE. Quite happy that I tried it. That was it for this review. And I think my next review will be probably a meal cold weather because I still have one laying around. So yeah, that was it for today. Thank you so much for watching and see you next time.